Hey there, welcome to Product Marketing Genius. I'm your host, Nitin Karthik. As CEO at Caribou Strategic, where we help tech scale up, stand out, and succeed, I know the importance of continually sharpening the saw. And that is why on this show, I give you priceless nuggets of wisdom from some of the best minds out there. And today, my friends, our genius is Senda Ben Abdallah. So, Senda, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Nitin, and thank you so much for having me on the show. As you said, my name is Senda. I've been in product marketing for the past 5 years, working with B2B SaaS startups. And I also host a podcast of my own, which is called Too Long Don't Listen, where I talk about career stories. And my last season focuses on product marketing.
Excellent. I think it's so great that we have people who create content because the way we learn is really from each other, right? It's not so much theory, it's more practice. And so I love that you're doing that. So really, hats off to your show. Okay, so Sandha, tell me a little bit, right? How are you finding the event so far? We're right now at the Product Marketing Summit in New York. So tell me, how are you finding the event so far? And are there any highlights that you would like to call out?
Yeah, of course. Well, it's 10 a.m. now in New York, and the event started an hour ago, and I already attended an amazing talk with Michelle, who talked about OKRs, which, in my opinion, is one of the most important topics in product marketing. We always challenge to measure our own success. So one of my highlights was actually her entire theme around gaming and how she compared us product marketers as essentially playing a game and trying to win as much as we can, and she shared a lot of insights and learnings, which I'm already thinking of applying in the company I'm working with. So yeah, and also meeting you, which is great. Another podcast host. So
Awesome.
far so good.
That's great. That's great. Michelle Nieberding, she was also a guest on one of my previous shows, and she's amazing. So really,
Great.
really glad that you got to check her talk out. Excellent. So Senda, then tell us, before the show, how familiar were you with PMA, and what's maybe your favorite part about the PMA community?
Yeah. I'm in love with Product Marketing Alliance. I think it goes without saying. Actually, my first certification, like proper PMA certification, was 3 years ago, and that's how I got into meeting great people in the community. You mentioned Michelle, but there's so many others. Like I learned about April Dunford, who you also probably know, and then I got to read her books. I also met Tamara Guminski, who's also a great product marketer. So it's definitely first the community is inspiring, and you get to meet great women leader, which I get to look up to, which is great. But also from a theory perspective, um, PMA is always on top of everything in terms of trends. You get to learn about the latest certifications in the space, and just following everyone on LinkedIn gives you always 10 steps ahead of the curve, which I really really appreciate. So yeah, so far I'm a big fan of PMA, and I hope to attend more summits in the future.
Excellent. Sanda, I think, organizations like this are doing so much to promote the community, collaboration, and the exchange of ideas. It's really amazing. It's really amazing. So, Sanda, maybe if you were to tell me the number one reason why someone should join an organization like PMA, what would that be?
I think I already said it, but it's the community. In my opinion, especially if you're early in your career and you want to grow, meeting people who have already been there, done that, it's the best way to grow and to learn. So you will get to meet incredible people who will inspire you, who will help you, who will share their learnings with you. And honestly, everyone in PMA is extremely open, from the organizers to the attendees. Like just now, we just met, and I know we're going to meet again for sure. And I also met a few incredible product marketers. So it's a very welcoming community, and I don't think you get that in every industry or every sector. You'll probably agree with me.
Oh, very much true. I think there are communities that maybe try to be good communities, but perhaps don't fully succeed in that. And then there are communities like the PMA who really knock it out of the park. And definitely when it comes to product marketing, I think it is really the community to be with, right? Wouldn't you agree?
100%. And they're everywhere. Like I was in London a few months back, and I attended the summit in London, and I heard they are going to Paris in 2 weeks, and then maybe Brazil in the summer. Like it's crazy. So you you won't be able to miss out on meeting with the PMA
That's
community.
right. There's going to be a PMA event near you. So definitely don't miss that out. Wonderful. So thank you, Senda. Okay. So, Senda, now let's talk a little bit about perhaps your journey, right? Tell us about what got you into product marketing and how did you become a PMM?
Yeah, great question, because you probably heard this from other PMMs. We don't really plan on becoming PMMs. So for me, I started working with the B2B SaaS, and we had a huge sales team that needed a lot of content and support with sales decks and understanding how to best position your product with customers. And so I got to become a product marketer by working with sales very closely and understanding their needs. And then I learned that that's, one part of being a product marketer, which is sales enablement. So initially, that's how I got into the job. And then I started working very closely with different functions. So gathering case studies and customer stories from the customer success team, helping our product engineering team with their roadmap, and kind of influencing that by looking at our competitors. And I love the role because it's extremely cross-functional, and I enjoy working with different functions. You never get bored in product marketing. And so that's how I started. And then I moved to a B2C company and still got to do product marketing with no sales teams, but still I got to work more on like product adoption, and being more strategic on our growth channels. So again, I think product marketing will never keep you bored. That's one takeaway.
Very true. If you're bored, basically become a product marketer, and that is one problem you will not have. You may have other problems, okay? But
Yeah.
boredom is a problem that you will not have as a product marketer. I think we can all agree on that.
Sure.
Excellent, excellent, wonderful. Okay, so let's think from a company's perspective, right? So if, let's say, a leader of a company, a founder, a CEO, how would we explain to them why product marketing is indispensable to their organization and their growth?
So as I mentioned already, OKRs is one of the most difficult things to nail as a product marketer. Why is that? That's because we work with so many different functions that we tend to drive the outcomes of other functions. So for example, get more sales qualified leads, or get more, increased product adoption. And all these metrics will essentially be owned by other departments, and product marketers drive those metrics or those KPIs. So I think we're kind of helping all these different functions, and we're just one person. So any CEO would want to have that kind of element in their company. But I also know for a fact that CEOs today, especially in B2B SaaS, and more specifically startups, are realizing the value of product marketers because we are capable of owning a lot and influencing different departments and delivering value very quickly. If you think about it, just nailing your positioning will help you stand out across competitors, will help you enable your sales team to do better. And that's just the role of a product marketer. And I think we are still in the process of educating what product marketing is. We're still in the early days, and I feel like I'm part of a movement now, which feels good. But yeah, we're far from, reaching that level of alignment on what product marketing is, because it differs from industry to, company size to product to customers. But the underlining, I think, is it will essentially drive the OKRs of the company, and it will align with your business goals. As a leader, you want someone like that on your team.
That's right. All businesses have goals, all businesses have OKRs. And in order to take your goals to the next level, that's where you need product marketing. So excellent point. Very well said, Senda. So Senda, if someone is already in product marketing and they're looking to take their career to the next level, right? And they ask you, Senda, tell us, what are 3 critical skills that they need to focus on to take their product marketing game to the next level? What would you say are the 3 most critical skills?
So first of all, if you're in product marketing, we need to connect. And second of all, the 3 critical skills, I'd say, honestly, I'm probably going to list mostly soft skills, because I do believe that you will be able to learn on the job. There's a lot of theory, a lot of things you can learn, obviously, as you're working as a product marketer. But number one is communication. You have to be good at communicating the results that you're driving, but also understanding the challenges of different departments. So you have to be able to, manage different stakeholders and communicate clearly what the needs are of the company. Number 2, which aligns with communication, but I'd say collaboration. So being someone who's extremely approachable, someone who can be reliable and trusted by different functions, because that will help you be perceived as that strategic person on the team. And number 3, I think you have to be very data driven, because you'll have a lot of assumptions as everyone else on your team. But if you have the data, people will have to follow you and they can't argue against you. So whether it's talking to customers or launching surveys or understanding your market and just sharing the data with your team, you'll always be like one step ahead of other departments, which is important.
Excellent advice. So there you have it, folks. 3 critical skills. So make sure you definitely ask Senda for more insights like that. And so Senda, if let's say there was a product marketer who was on a tight budget, right? And they wanted from you some resources, right? In order to achieve some of their goals, maybe improve their skills, but they don't have much of a budget. what kind of resources would you drive these product marketers towards?
I mean, you know what I'm going to say, 𝐦𝐚. First of all, podcasts, obviously, 𝐦𝐚's podcast, also my podcast, Too Long Don't Listen. I'm mentioning these because it's free. It's, audio. You can skip the parts you're not interested in and just get the information you need. Number two, I'd say obviously Product Marketing Alliance. I think there's a lot of blog posts you can access for free, a lot of frameworks that are so great, like that Turing framework. I love that. Whenever there's a product launch, it's so important to have a structure in place from a reliable source like Product Marketing Alliance. And then there's a bunch of books that are not that expensive, honestly, that you could just buy. Like there's the Loved book. Have you heard of it?
Yes, Maria Lotchenko, I think.
Correct.
Maria Lotchenko, that's right. So she wrote that. In fact, I was listening to the audio version of that. I love audiobooks. You talked about audio. It's a great way because you can do that while multitasking, right? Maybe you're driving, maybe you're doing your laundry, maybe you're doing dishes, right? I love that, right? Because all of us are busy. So audio is a great format, whether it's podcast or audiobooks. So yeah, Loved by Maria Lotchenko. I think it's actually an Amazon bestseller.
Yes,
and so I've been listening to that on Audible. So it's been amazing. Yes. Yeah.
It's perfect. And it's so clear for any stage in your product marketing career. That is like a go-to book. There's Misunderstood
by Product Marketing Alliance. So that actually is by Richard King and I think Brian E. Pierce, the Chief Marketing Officer. There you go. Hey, yes, that's right. That's right.
So these are two books, honestly, anyone who's in product marketing should have read or should read. And then if you get to attend webinars or meetups in your area, usually those are not very expensive to attend. So that's a great way to connect with product marketers and just learn more about the area and the sector.
Excellent. So beautiful advice on that. Thank you so much. Folks, there you have it. Please reach out to Senda for even more great insights like this. And if you want a free ebook copy of my Amazon bestseller, Product Marketing Wisdom, you can sign up at wisdomfromwizards.com. And see you guys next time.